Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that you are having a good start to your day and feeling good and strong and positive. And I really do welcome you here and tell your friends about 60 and Me. You know, we've got a huge community now of women all around the world, and it's, I think, hopefully bringing some community and sense of connection and the fact that we're all on this aging journey together. And I just hope you find it useful. So I'm having my cup of tea this morning, which I always feature. Today it's cranberry raspberry, and it's wow, it really smells good. It's fruity tea. It's kind of bright red if you can see it, and it's got cranberries, which are very good for you, and raspberries. I mean, all foods that go into teas have all those nutrients and benefits that you would expect. So having a cup of tea in the morning is good for your mind, body, and soul. So hope that you're doing great. Have a coffee, maybe. Maybe you prefer juice or smoothie or something else. But whatever you're doing, let's just take a minute to be thankful for what we've got here today. Remember the things that we're grateful for, and chat about something that I think will be of value to you in facing these next years as a 60-year-old woman. Now, I would like to thank our sponsor for this show. That's Puritan's Pride. We take a big interest in health. As you know, it's very important to us to have a healthy attitude and body in our 60s. And you can visit the Puritan's Pride website to find out how the right nutrition can help you get the most from your life. So thanks to Puritan's Pride. Now, what is our topic today? Well, we have a blogger. Her name's Joan Moran. Joan has been with us now for a couple of years on 60 and Me, and she's written a lot of very good articles about her own experience of aging and also just giving very actionable and practical advice on just how to approach it. And I really have enjoyed reading her articles. And this one is really dealing with how old you really feel, and what are the opportunities of being an older woman. So, do you get up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, whoa, what happened? I mean, maybe you wake up one day and say, God, you look good. I mean, this is pretty good for 65, 66 years old or whatever. But then some mornings it's like, oh my goodness, what's happened? Who am I? Because I think a lot of us, or most of us, feel young inside. Like our 19-year-old woman is still in there with all these ideas and dreams and hopes and plans. And we have this aging body that sometimes limits us, not just physically. So it's true that, we fear being invisible or irrelevant, that we're not important anymore. This is kind of a natural feeling, I think, for us because, there is a focus on youth in our society. Well, society, in our global society, and it's not really something we can do a lot about, except in our individual way to show the world that we're challenging aging stereotypes. We're getting out there and doing stuff. That's the only way we can be, thought of in a way that we're not invisible or irrelevant. So you've got to get out there and do stuff. Now, you can turn your life into a journey or into a struggle, and it's your choice. It really is. And I think that's the thing that Joan talks about in this article. Transitioning to 60 is tough. It's very different than 50, super different than 40. And I think people don't think about that, especially I know some of the blogs are designed for women from 40 to 60 or over 40. And I really think that there's a very unique set of issues and concerns and thoughts that go on in a 40-year-old woman's mind and a 50-year-old that's really different from a 60. So it's just my personal view on that. But anyway, I think you've got to encourage a positive mindset and, don't buy into those aging cliches yourself because we can do that really well. So don't buy into the aging cliches. Know that, yes, you may have some limitations, but they're not going to hold you back. So I think that's super important. Think that you're going to get better with age. What are some of the things that Joan talks about here that I really, really like about our state of mind in our 60s? She says, first of all, that we're living from a deeper place. Now, just take that sentence for a minute and think about it. I think it's really, being your true self, your true version of yourself, living from a deeper place where you actually appreciate that life is kind of meaningful and purposeful, regardless of how you are viewed or how you are, how people engage with you. Self-reflection over those years, 60 years, brings wisdom. And it brings a kind of understanding of who you are that is deep. That, I think I don't know how to say that in any other way. Just then it's a deep process. You're really looking at yourself honestly. There's a truth. The second thing is she suggests is to lighten up on the negative aspects of life when you're in your 60s. Yes, I know it's very sad because so many people that we know who are older friends have died, partners perhaps have died, and that's so incredibly difficult. I understand that. Or we've been divorced, similar kind of separation. And I think that we dwell on those things as kind of milestones, like 5 years after this happened or that happened, and we dwell on the negative. And sometimes, well, hopefully, we dwell on it in a positive way. That it happened and now I'm able to do this, or I've enabled myself or empowered myself to do this, and focus on the positive energy that you can have in your 60s. Super important. And I think that the health issues too that we face. I mean, everyone's got a sore knee or a bit of a bad back. I mean, of course, some people have really serious illnesses, and from my heart, I empathize, or I don't empathize because I don't truly understand, but I do respect. But there's many people that just seem to make their aches and pains the topic of every conversation. And I think this is what Joan's saying, just sort of lighten up on that a bit. And yes, of course, talk if you have a situation others can help you with, but just find a balance. There's another thing she talks about, and I really loved this particular piece, was finding a way to be a free spirit. If you ask women in their 60s kind of how they define themselves, a lot of them say, I feel like a free spirit. I'm a bohemian again. I'm bringing my hippie self back. And that's, I think, a really cool product of just giving in to the fact that we're aging and not to stress about what people think. She talks about a movie called The Book Club. I haven't seen it yet. It's got a bunch of really cool people in it, ranging from mid-60s to 80s. Famous actresses, you'll recognize the names. And they have a book club that they get together and talk about books, as we do in book clubs. And someone recommends, or in the movie, somebody recommends the book. What's it called? 50 Shades of Grey. No, it's actually it's the other one. It's a sequel to the 50 Shades of Grey, which is, as you know, the sexy book written by someone, I've forgotten her name now, who wrote about a fairly sexual relationship and sensual between her and this gentleman, this man. And it's got some incredible descriptive scenes in it. And it's got kind of a dark side and a light side. And there's this whole psychology of sex and partnerships, relationships. I just looked at my notes here. It's called 50 Shades Darker. That was a sequel. Anyway, so they read this book and then they of course all interpret it differently. And in the conversation that happens in a book club, they all start talking about their own relationships and their own sensuality and just how they're doing and how their attitudes perhaps have changed and then they all have to make decisions. I guess that's the gist of the movie, is reading this book empowers them to touch that sexual side of themselves in their 60s, but then they decide, how do I deal with that? What's my reality? So I'm going to go watch the movie because I think it sounds really cool, but maybe you've seen it already. But it's how to remain positive with the choices that they make. They may not be yours. So anyway, another thing Joan talks about is aging with grace and imagination. Now, we've talked about grace. Grace is one of those words that has like lots of definition, but it's more like her end of it is grace under pressure, kind of courageous grace. And it's a commitment to the grace of knowing yourself, just knowing that this is where the real liberation lies and where the strength of your character comes out. You get to ask yourself the questions, really, truly. Where do you want to travel? Where do you want to live? Who do you want to be friends with? I mean, take travel, for example. If you really love traveling, you can age, with courage and imagination by looking at your budget and doing what you can. If you can only take trips on buses to the next town or two, then do that. Do little puddle jumps, I think she calls them. And if you have some way to make some extra money in retirement, save. $100 a month or $50 a month. By the end of the year, you'll have enough to take a trip that you really wanted to take, on a plane, a train, somewhere, or a boat. And it's just having the imagination to deal with your reality and do something about it that's going to make you happy. And I think that this willingness to experience something new in your life is a really key part of finding joy in your 60s. It certainly is for me, and I know that that's been my attitude to travel and exploration. It's really all I ever spend my money on, to be honest. So the last thing she talks about is being a lifelong learner. And we've talked about this before. It's that whole thing of having a curious mind. If you can't afford to go to school, or you don't have a community near you, community college, or you don't want to go out to school, so much now online. I just got an email yesterday from Udemy, Udemy, Udemy. It's like Coursera, these online courses that you can take. And I'm telling you, there were so many cool classes that happen virtually, online. You just log in and you're with thousands of other people virtually, and you can learn so many skills as well as learn about topics that you're interested in from the start. So anyway, I think this is the ability to take chances is all part of being a brave and courageous 60-year-old woman. Hope it's inspired you. Thank you, Joan, for the article. I know it's really a great topic for us to think about and share. And I'd like to know sort of what kind of ideas do you have for staying young and vibrant in your 60s? Okay, so what ideas do you have for staying young and vibrant in your 60s? Leave your comments in the section below. Let's give each other a virtual hug if we see someone that says something that's interesting. And let's stay young and youthful and vibrant in our 60s together. Okay, everybody, well, have a great day. We'll see you again soon. And just take care of yourselves. Enjoy the day. Bye-bye.